Hey guys, welcome back. Bitsby Trippin' Carter here on the Ravencoin Cruise with the crew, and we'll introduce folks. We're going to just go through some questions that we had submitted from folks on the interwebs. As we kicked off this cruise, I did a questionnaire to everybody on both Twitter and YouTube to ask us some questions. I mean, you got Tron here, you got Doug from MangoAssets, or Mango Farms, and I'll let everybody introduce themselves when they go through it with Adam and everybody else. But we got some questions that we'll go through, but first we're gonna have everybody kind of just introduce themselves and kind of shill your Twitter link, make sure people know how to find you guys up front. So you all know me, you're here because of the videos. We'll let Tron start. All right. Yes, you do. I was probably not talking into it myself.
All right. Thanks, Bitsby Trippin', for doing this. It's awesome. And for everybody who came on this cruise, we'll probably try to do these hopefully annually, which would be amazing. My name's Tron. I worked on the original Ravencoin. I'm now the president of the Ravencoin Foundation, which kind of supports the ecosystem. So if you have questions, you can reach me at Tron Black at gmail.com or Tron at Ravencoin.foundation or DM me at Tron Black. I'll pass this along.
Okay.
Yeah. Me next?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi everybody, I'm Doug from MangoFarmAssets. I teach blockchain law and technology at GW University Law School. I'm a lawyer in New York. Got involved in Ravencoin, sort of close to the beginning, not right at the beginning, but close. And what I principally focus on is second layer tools for tokenizing assets and IPFS technology and hardware wallets. We're building a hardware wallet, and my company has since merged with a company called IP-Assets, which is my partner here is Adam, and I'll introduce him. I'm at MangoFarmAssets on Twitter, and if you have any questions, want to reach me, Doug at MangoFarmAssets.com or Doug at IPAssetstechnology.com.
My name's Adam. I'm a co-founder of IP-Assets Technology. As Doug said, we partnered up about 2 years ago. We develop a lot of things for second layer applications on Ravencoin, and a lot of my day-to-day is focused on asset tokenization and use cases in industry. You can find me at Adam Assets on Twitter.
Awesome.
My name is Sarah Jenkins. I am a real estate agent in Wisconsin and Minnesota, and we are tokenizing real estate on the Ravencoin blockchain. You can feel free to reach out anytime too with questions. Sarah at sarahjenkins.com or blockchainrealtor.com.
I'm Dan Jenkins. My company is HydroChain Technologies. We're focused on building a platform for tokenized real estate for investors to get in and buy and trade tokenized real estate. We've been in Ravencoin since 2018, mining and hodling, and that's where we're at.
I'm Jeremy Smith. I was the former Chief Technology Officer at Medici Ventures. Some of you may be familiar with that. Also involved with Ravencoin, the Ravencoin Foundation, and I can be reached at Jeremy H. Smith on Twitter or Jeremy at Ravencoin.foundation.
Awesome. All right, well, we'll get right to it and kick this off, my dudes. So there was about 8 questions that were submitted, mostly on YouTube, and they're pretty diverse questions. And we'll try to get through the questions and then maybe just have a general discussion on what's upcoming in Raven and how you guys can participate, and maybe some links to some videos if you're interested in getting into the mining aspects of it. So it's pretty cool. So the very first question came from Salar. I'm going to totally mispronounce this because I'm terrible at saying names, so I'm very sorry. And it's Naserpour. And his question was, how do members working on a project contribute to making the network as able to absorb as much hash rate as possible when Ethereum goes to ETH 2.0? You want to try to go first, Tron? And
I'll try it.
You'll try.
So yeah, if Ethereum moves to proof of stake, so it's being pushed, moves to proof of stake, then that kind of leaves a gap. There's a lot of people who have where Ethereum is oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes the most profitable coin to mine. Ravencoin is a proof of work token. uses the same hardware, meaning off-the-shelf, NVIDIA, AMD hardware to mine, and the algorithm, which is sort of a derivative, so kind of a second, second cousin derivative of ETH Hash for ProgPoW to KAWPOW, uses all of your video card. And it's kind of a good competitor. It's often number 2 on profitability, and so you can help by getting people who don't know about Ravencoin that have Ethereum mining that they're using to basically just the opportunity to shift over them. It's just switching the software for that commodity hardware.
Yeah, one of the points I'll bring up, and the one that we bring up on the channel quite a bit, is understanding proof of work blockchains in general. And you are essentially exchanging your hardware for some computational time for a token. You're a managed service by and large on the security side. And a lot of that's going to be driven based on your own personal individual situation when it comes to what did you pay for the hardware, how much are you paying for power. Those are going to matter in that. That's why nobody's dodging your question. It's more of like if you're cheaper power and you have a pretty decent, you already own your hardware, then you're able to mine right after Ethereum moves over from its merge. Your profitability is going to be okay. But if all of that hash rate comes over, it's all going to be a math problem. Is it going to make sense for you to mine or not? People that are contributing and building things, I think that question could be understood as what Doug and Adam and Sarah are building on Ravencoin helps provide a natural utility and value to Ravencoin, which then will incentivize people to come over and use it. And then when you see the use, you'll see a lot more price discovery with that. We see that right now with ETH when it comes to like the NFT markets and everybody trying to get into that NFT game. There's a lot of people that are just buying the asset, and then it drives up the price because of the limited of supply. And Ravencoin has a limited supply. So, it's, all we would say is everybody that's out there that wants to build on a project, take a look at Ravencoin, see if that project aligns with, the features and functions that are in Ravencoin. And we'll get into some of those here on the channel here in a second. Next question, RicanSolderBoy asks, will there be a more energy-conscious ASIC resistant algo change in the future that will not be as intensive as KAWPOW and more around ETH's DaggerHashimo? So I'll let Tron take that one real quick.
I'm going to say unlikely, and the reason for that is, let's say you had, SHA-256 is, as energy efficient as anything. It's very quick and easy to do. The problem is you just keep ramping up machines until that hits a level, where the profitability, the market kind of balances between that profitability and that algorithm. So let's say we made it twice as easy. What'll happen is it's now twice as profitable, and then twice as many people kind of flood in to fill that gap. And so, it's not something you can just sort of calculate and say, let's make this, 100 times easier. Well, there'll be probably 100 times more hash power on it until that profit, kind of balances out. So it's not something we can do.
Yep. Yeah, and I would say also with just, there's kind of I don't call it a misnomer, but I think it comes down to configuration management and everything. If you were just to plug a GPU in and let it go full tilt, it's going to use the full GPU, and everybody's going to use a lot more power. But I've shown on several videos that you can actually dial it back a little bit. You don't have to let that Ferrari go to full speed. You can back it down a little bit, take a small hit on your hash rate, and be at the same energy profile as you would on Ethereum. So I would say it's more of a management game with it. So if you start to switch over to Ravencoin, just pay attention to your power settings, and you can get it down to where it's not as energy intensive as just right out of the gate. So and don't worry, we'll get into some of the other questions that have to do with assets and IPFS, because those are some interesting things. I want to make sure we cover some of it. Next question from Alex Zahn. He has the next 3 questions. Alex had a lot to ask here, which is cool. Do you think the wallet that contains 43% of RVN's total coin supply, that's right now, is problematic or poses a threat? I'll let you guys take it. Imagine there'll be a few.
Yeah, it's really hard to answer that because it's either an exchange, in which case it's owned by a whole bunch of people, in which case it's not a threat at all, or it's a Ravencoin super fan that has a lot of money that's collected this, in which case, as long as they stay a super fan, it's not a threat. It's hard to say. I don't know. I had some ideas. I've asked around. The people I've asked that I thought could have that match, because it's a lot, have said no. So that one's tricky to answer.
Tron and I have talked about this. I actually don't think it's a problem at all, and the reason is a couple of things. First, this person could be liquidating that wallet right now, and they're not. So they're obviously, if it's an exchange, they have a need for the liquidity, and if it's not an exchange, it's someone who, sort of believes in Ravencoin. That's really putting your money where your mouth is. If it's a big miner or somebody who, bought them on an exchange. One of the things I think is most important in the blockchain space is sort of the principle of free markets. And this is a person or entity or group of people that have, managed to accumulate that much Raven. So if the market supports, that amount of Raven being held in one wallet, good thing. If they start to dump it on the market, good thing. It'll get absorbed over time, and we will equilibrate at the price and the, this ties into mining, at the price and the hash rate, and all of it's going to be equilibrating with each other until we get to, the right spot for the free market solution. So I think it's a good thing.
Took the words out of my mouth. That's the reason why we're partners. We have a very common view on the scale of things.
Thank you.
Like, you had me at hello, Doug. Yes. I agree too. I mean, so I looked at it from a little different perspective from being in Bitcoin really early, and remember seeing questions like this on Bitcoin Talk back in the day. With having Satoshi and Michael Hearn and a lot of the early adopters in Bitcoin and Mt. Gox, where close to 67% of the supply was between Mt. Gox, original founder, original folks in the space, and I think BTCE was the other exchange at the time. When you looked at that, it was like 67% of all the Bitcoin was on those. And, we see where it's happened. So, it gives, if it is an exchange wallet, I think that's really good, because then it shows that people that aren't going to be mining have a place to go pick it up at. And it's not just a hodl, which is fine. I mean, hodl, my license plate is hodl, Ravencoin. So, I think it's fine, to Doug's point on the free market side of it. Next question from Alex was, who is RVN's biggest competitor? What is RVN doing differently? And that's a very open and broad question. I'll let Tron take that one first.
So that's a very open question. For Raven, the token, the coin, the asset, it's limited in supply. So for that type of thing, it might be a Bitcoin, a Litecoin, a Doge, something like that, right? It's you can hold it. It has a certain value, has a market, has a very liquid market, so for assets. Just because of kind of the size of it, and really competitor in the sense that more people are aware of it, perhaps than Ravencoin assets, would be ERC20 on Ethereum and a bunch of other coins. On Ethereum, it's like kind of fall down as a competitor just because of the cost of transfer and things like that. So if you're just talking about that, but they have differences too. So built into Ravencoin, it's a custom built. That's what it does. It creates assets, and not only creates assets, but looked at like what do assets need, and so the linkage of the token name, which has to have a unique name. So there's sort of a DNS registry type system built into the core protocol. That's important, right? So that when you have a token, it's like there's only one. You do get a unique, we'll call it a unique identifier on an EVM coin like an Ethereum, but the unique identifier is just like 40 characters of zeros through F. It's just a hex value. And so, someone can spoof, you can put a name in it, but like it's really just the hex value that's unique, so people can use that to kind of spoof, oh, this is also, a token named Bob, and there could be 10 or 1,000 of them kind of thing. Whereas on the Ravencoin, we have this name registry. So that makes it somewhat unique. And then also the IPFS linkage, so the ability to link a unique token name that you've created, and only you have the keys, and you're the owner, issuer, and of that creation. But you can link that to IPFS data that's immutable to say what that token represents. And so I think those are somewhat unique. There probably are some other tokens that have some of those. I know ERC 721 for NFTs has the ability to kind of link it to IPFS and things like that. But I think it has some unique capabilities. It's custom built for that. It's also more efficient, cheaper to send than Ethereum. Yeah, leave it there. Anyone else?
Sure. So, one of the things that we focus on at Mango Farm and IP Assets is the asset side of things, so tokenizing assets and creating assets on the blockchain. And Ethereum's the obvious competitor. In the NFT space, there's OpenSea and there are exchanges. So it's sort of, if I were to say what's the number one competitor, and I don't view things in that competitive way. It's not a zero-sum game, but it's Ethereum. As Tron said, I think there are strengths and weaknesses to both. Ravencoin, it's simple. Your assets are on chain. When you tokenize an asset on Ravencoin, you've got the name. It's not some sort of contract-based name that 10 people can have. And transacting, and it's one thing that I don't really understand. Ravencoin was built for the purpose of putting assets on the blockchain, and it uses the same model as Bitcoin, sort of the UTXO model of Bitcoin, unspent transaction output model. Ethereum is built for a different purpose. It's sort of a general purpose, computational engine that people used for the purpose of putting assets on the blockchain. And you start to see the differences when you start to get into, what happens when Ethereum is used for many, many other things, and people are starting to put, ERC20 tokens or ERC 721 tokens on the blockchain. When you try to transact those assets out from one wallet to another, you can't put a $40 asset on Ethereum. You can do it on Ravencoin. And the reason is because, Ethereum is doing many, many other things, and it gets computationally expensive to transact in the assets that you create. So, it's actually a really important distinction. They may be competitors, but they're not competitors in the sense that there's no competition when it comes to ease of use. On-chain, Ethereum does not put your assets on-chain. It puts them in a smart contract. That's different. And cost. There's just no competition between the two chains. So when I say, competition or competitor, it's not really, Ravencoin does it better for this specific purpose, but that's because Ravencoin was designed, invented basically for this purpose.
Yeah, may I add
Yeah.
one last thing there? And I think fantastic answers. On top of that, it's fully decentralized, no pre-mine, no ICO, widely distributed. And so when you take that wide, decentralization, all of these features at a protocol level that you listed, to me, I have a hard time actually seeing true competitors to Ravencoin right now.
Excellent. I think those are all. I think you guys hit all of them. I don't think I could add actually much more to that. I don't also look at it as a competition. I mean, if anything, it was a competition to attention than it is anything else, because people will pay attention to certain things, but not from a financial standpoint. It's more of like, are you putting your effort on somewhere? And I think people right now are in a discovery of other stuff right now, other chains, because of the cost on Ethereum. And we're seeing a lot of things move over to Solana, and then there are some moving over to Ravencoin, especially on the NFT standpoint, because people are seeing the ease of use of it and a lot of the tools that are out there, and then how you can do that. So,
well, Ethereum's sort of prominence actually brings attention to the whole space, which is a great thing.
Yeah. So they're very complementary, and it works a lot that way in mining, right? Where people are always like, "Why are you always showing people how to more effectively mine? Isn't that going to allow everybody to be that much more efficient?" And like, yeah, we're upholding the same network. It's the same security layer. The more security that's on that network, the stronger then it makes it. If people are going to make a financial or eventually a business decision on a chain, they're going to want something that is, very strong when it comes to security standpoint. They don't want a huge amount of risk with their business. Is this chain going to be there tomorrow or not? So you want as many as people as you can participating, and then price discovery lifts enough. As price discovery continues to lift, it allows more people to participate, right? And it will fill in, as more and more price discovery happens. We'll go into a next question here. This is from Alex, kind of like one of the other ones. Does Ravencoin have an algo change plans or a PoS plan in its future?
No current plans for that. The algo change, thing. We've had two. We went from X16R to X16R V2. The V2 was just to kind of hopefully brick the ASICs. It didn't. It slowed them down. There was a couple that came out. It wasn't a dominance. It was just they were slightly faster. The goal of KAWPOW, based on ProgPoW, is to push the limits of a video card, push it in computation, push it in memory, push it even kind of expands to kind of push it beyond, like where it actually grows and requires more memory on the card. And there's a couple reasons for that. One of the goals is to make it so that if an ASIC does come out, it's going to look a whole lot like a video card, right? They're going to have to get the same die sizes to get that much processing power. They're going to have to put that much memory in. The memory expansion is actually to say, okay, well, if you buy one that's like 4 gig that works today, you might need a 5 gig one tomorrow, and so then as when you buy an ASIC and that's the only thing it's good for, otherwise you're going to throw it away. You get one that's 4 and expands to 5, you throw it away. That's kind of a waste, right? So it kind of grows for that reason. Whereas with commodity hardware, you buy it, right? You get a gaming machine, you get the benefits of the using it for gaming and speeding up your video processing and everything. If you just want to do it on the machines that you have at home, so. One of the goals of Ravencoin is to make it so that anybody who has a gaming rig, any decent one can play games on it and then flip it on and make Raven at night. And so that which leads to really, really, really widely distributed processing or widely distributed mining, which we think is a really good thing.
So the question was, are there any plans, right? So. Yeah. And this ties into what you were saying. There's no one to make plans. Yeah. And that's the great thing about Ravencoin, right? It is a decentralized project. So Tron might have an idea as to where things might go in 6 months or a year, and you might, or I might, anyone here might, we're all users, right? But nobody really knows because, Ravencoin is people write code and people sort of push code out there, and then miners decide which code to lock in by downloading a node and running it. So that's the cool thing. But Ravencoin has forked twice for 3 different mining algorithms. And the cool thing for me as a GPU miner is that really the ethos of, and there was a lot of debate in Ravencoin about whether just let it go ASIC or not amongst members of the community or participants in the ecosystem. And it was a huge topic of debate. This is me personally. I love the fact that it stayed sort of used ProgPoW and sort of converted ProgPoW into KAWPOW because it keeps that sort of decentralized. And there was a lot of pushback. People didn't think it could be done, and KAWPOW had really only been implemented or ProgPoW in 1 or 2 small coins, and keeps that sort of long tail distribution of hash rate that I think was important to the Satoshi and important to the sort of the decentralized ethos of blockchain. So.
Yeah. Well, one other thing, if you do want to go mine the original, that still exists as a Ravencoin, I think, classic. So you can go.
X16R? Yeah. Yeah, that's the great thing about open market. If somebody wants to support it and do development for it or keep their ASICs that they sunk cash into, they're going to keep running them. And then maybe at some point it gets price discovery or not. I don't know if I'd add any more. I think you guys nailed it. I mean, it's a community thing. If people felt that they wanted to contribute and write code to something, and then they can pitch it to everybody else in the community and decide if that makes sense or not. I don't think I think you guys nailed it. So one of the last questions, we have 2 questions left. If a professional realtor wanted to learn the why, the wheres, the hows of putting real world assets on the chain, what is the best starting point? So this really comes around education and assets, so I think we can pass that wherever.
To our professional realtor.
So where can they
Funny
find
enough,
We just happen to have one.
Best place to start would be blockchainrealtor.com.
Yep.
Well, it depends on what kind of properties.
I'll let you start.
What kind of properties you're looking at. I mean, if you're looking at income-producing properties, which we're taking on right now, then you need a good lawyer, and you need a good realtor, and you need a marketplace if you're going to do that. Now, Tron actually handed over Andrew Bull with Bull Blockchain Law, and he's gotten us started up on it. And then we, as far as marketplace, we're using DigiShares out of Netherlands to build us our marketplace, which will be RavencoinTokens.com. But there's a lot of different types of real estate that you can tokenize. And
I was gonna say, even since we've left and arrived here, there are 2 other projects that we've heard of starting to be tokenized, but they're different than ours. Ours is it'll be just a single family home. It'll be rented out for longer term leases. There's another gentleman working with DigiShares on, I believe it's new construction, but totally different than our project. And then
it's more of like financing. Right?
Yeah, more of a financing side, and then VRBOs. So lots of cool stuff happening in the real estate world on Ravencoin.
Right. But it does give other options for like say family farm, and then end of life, and then being able to tokenize a family farm if it's split between many kids, or an investor that has a portfolio of rental properties and is nearing retirement, and he wants to tokenize, maybe sell off little bits every month as he, to pay for his expenses through retirement. And so there's a lot of different aspects of tokenization. But then if you are just like 3 college kids that want to buy a house together to live in through college, you just need a contract between each other, and then tokenize it on Ravencoin. It only costs you 500 Raven. That's right. You guys think of anything else? Yeah.
There's some ideas for real estate aside, any asset. So I spend a lot of my time focusing on every other asset on the planet outside of real estate. I think most people who are just now getting into this need to approach it just like any business model. You want to identify all the stakeholders, all those stakeholder interactions, the assets that are involved, whether that's intellectual property, data, tangible assets like this table we're sitting at. All of these things matter. And depending on that particular industry and what you're trying to accomplish, once you map it all out, you can find your lower hanging fruit, that right spot to enter that market, because a lot of these really lucrative industries are very complex. And so you can't necessarily tackle all 10 stakeholders in a particular market, but maybe these first 2 are the right place to start. So for anybody who's looking to apply tokenization to assets and stakeholders in general, start out by just mapping them out and really understanding what industry you're trying to innovate in. And then I think you're going to create a real solution for a problem, rather than making a tech stack for, or what am I trying to say? Make technology and maybe they'll come kind of scenario.
One quick thing to say. You heard it before, but get a lawyer. and the reason is because, and I'm a lawyer, and I'm not saying that because I'm shilling my profession, but I teach this stuff. A lot of the legal implications of what people can technologically do really hasn't been built out yet. And you saw it in the security space with the ICOs in 2017. You're gonna see it in the real estate space. You're gonna see it in every new asset class that starts to push the envelope of legal issues. And there are many states in which you can't put your title to real estate on the blockchain, because the title has to be in the county clerk's books. And the county clerk's books are actually handwritten books that sit on a shelf. So get a good lawyer, and that doesn't pertain to contracts and sort of fractionalization of economic interests in real estate, but it does pertain to title. So the better the lawyer that you can get when you're sort of the first mover in a particular space like real estate, the better. And these guys have a good one. His name's Andrew Bull, and I know him, and he's excellent. So you guys did that.
Excellent. Oh, my laptop went to sleep again. So yeah, and I know what the last one is. So yeah, to talk on that from an education standpoint of, I mean, this is like the bread and butter of this channel most of the time is people want to know where to go to find more information out, and we'll have some links below in the channel for you guys to be able to identify if you're looking to put assets. So I think it starts very mechanically, like understand enough about the chain on what you're trying to do, like how to create an asset and the mechanics around that, and then the kind of discovery where you're talking about, Adam, when you're like, what are you trying to do, and kind of map that out. Like, what's your end game on it? What are you trying to fractionalize it? Are you, and then, you know, at that point where you have enough of those notes together, even if they're just in a notepad, then you can go to a lawyer, because you're going to need to talk about it. And the last thing you want to do is spend a lawyer's time, and you're going to be paying money, and you're like, you know, I really haven't thought this one out. So you want to make sure that, definitely be encouraged. You're trudging new land here. It's not going to be easy. None of those things are typically right away easy, but you know, there's enough resources out there to help you get along now, to get on a path, and then you can maybe forge and show all of us one day on like what your new value that you're bringing to the chain and what you've been able to get through, you know, with your folks. So yeah, go out there, there's a lot of research out there that you can do in the space and how to get into you know, building assets and stuff. The last question was on, and I don't know how much we know about it, or if maybe we just point somebody to the direction, but there's this new thing that's going out with mineable assets. And I don't know if you want to get into point somebody where to go on mineable assets. I know I started reading through some of it before we did this a little bit, but wanted to let Tron kind of talk to it.
Yeah, so mineable assets don't exist yet. It's a proposed improvement to Ravencoin as it exists today. It would be an asset that has its own you know, first character, would be different than all the other assets, so you know it's a mineable asset. And then it would have, you know, like use the DNS system after that to you know, so you could do different ones, but they'd all have unique names. The proposal, easiest way to probably find it is to go to our Discord. Easiest way to find the Discord is to go to ravencoin.foundation, just hit social, kind of at the bottom there's a big footer, just click on the Discord link, and then go to I think it's development meetings, which is a meeting we have every Friday. It's been posted there. I think it's probably also been posted in the nest within the Discord, and you can just kind of read through the proposal. General idea behind it is that these assets, you would create a unique name. You would say which blocks they're mined in or how many blocks they're mined in. Raven gets mined every block, 5,000. That'll be having in a little bit, but you choose how many, and then you can also route some of that to kind of up to the ownership address, you know, to help fund the project that you're doing. So it's a proposal, hasn't been developed yet. We'll be soliciting for funds or helping to support that with the Ravencoin Foundation. But take a look at that and see what you think.
Awesome. Yeah, and that kind of dovetailed towards the end of this on some just ad hoc questions when it comes to if people wanted to have, if they had ideas and they wanted to be, you know, a contributor or discovery, probably the best right now is the Discord is really kind of where everybody's kind of meeting up. I know that you guys do meeting minutes and stuff in there from a developer standpoint. Or if you're a developer, I have a lot of developers that reach out on the channel looking just to where to start, you know. Yeah. So if they, you know, even doing like we were looking at doing a video on just setting up the IDE and development environment to even be a contributor and that kind of stuff. So finding out resources out there. There's plenty of folks in there I know that would help somebody if they wanted to, you know, hey, I'm a developer, I develop in this particular language, what should I start with, that kind of thing. You guys can navigate yourself to Discord there.
There's a lot of links at the bottom, at the footer of the Foundation's website that has, you know, all the social channels and
yeah, on that Foundation's website, it did a lot of, to what Doug was saying, to go get information. So if you're watching this and you're like, this is kind of cool, like hit that page, click those links down there, take 5 minutes and just kind of get some discovery, and it'll lead you down a path to maybe some answering some of the questions on how to get involved in the community. You know, one of the other questions, is there a published site of like what's all the proposals? So we said the one proposal for the mining thing, is that on the Discord for folks, and how would they see what's coming up?
Yeah, so on that same page, some of the proposals, this is a newer, bigger one, the mining. A lot of them are listed under GitHub issues, so if you just go to the project's GitHub, hit issues, there's smaller proposals kind of within that. Things that don't impact consensus improvements and things. There's lots of areas and places that can be improved, and so there's a lot of things in the issues, along with, you know, just issues that need to be fixed and comments and things related to that. That'd be a good place. There's also bounties. It's on the main page of the Ravencoin Foundation, proposals and bounties. So if you are a developer, you can select some of those and how much it pays and develop the unit tests and things like that, and then you can get paid. So you can see all the ones that have been paid. You can see they pay in Raven, by the way, and then there's the transaction ID of who's been paid. And all of that is all listed there. The accounting's all open for the foundation. It's a kind of a donation-based thing. We got some resources from Overstock to get that started, and then there's been donations from NFT projects that have helped, and lots of different ways that the foundation's kind of helping the ecosystem.
Awesome. Well, I only have one more question. We kind of talked about it briefly about a lot of folks use mobile. And there's some questions around like upcoming stuff with mobile wallet, asset supported, and all that kind of stuff for Apple and Android. Could you give them a quick update just on the Android, Apple wallet?
Yeah.
That you know of?
Yeah, I can't talk too much about it. Hold tight before the end of the year to leave improvements. And so, if you have been using the mobile wallet, specifically the one that kind of came from Medici and Raven Foundation. That one, the Android one's not great. The iPhone one works. There's also MangoFarmAssets wallet, works on mobile, works on desktop. There's also Stibbits. There's other ones, and then also if you're just dealing with Raven, meaning for mining and things like that, there's a whole bunch of them like Exodus and Edge, and the ones that were just part of the list of coins, and you can use those. Again, I'm not trying to shill the foundation, but the foundation website is really a place to kind of spoke out. There's wallets that support assets, the ability to create them, the ability to transfer them. There's a whole bunch of wallets that support just Raven, and all those are listed and separated so you can see which ones are which. But there's lots of different wallets that you can use.
Awesome. Well, I think that does it. I think we were cooking here for a little bit, and got everybody some detail from the Ravencoin Cruise, which has been awesome. We'll have a kind of a recap video of some of the adventures we had on there. We're definitely going to have another cruise for sure. There's no doubt on that. But no, I thank everybody for taking some time, answering some questions. These are community questions, so we're answering the call on that. And no, we'll be sure to like, subscribe, make sure you're giving all these folks a like and subscribe out there. We'll make sure that we'll have all their pertinence out there. And if you got questions, ping them on Twitter. I know most of them respond on Twitter pretty quick, so we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Decentralization is one of the most important factors in a global cryptocurrency network. Bitcoin's proof of work functions due to the exceptional security provided by the miners of the network. Today's sponsor is Compass Mining, a company with a customer-focused experience providing a tailored approach to purchasing, hosting, or even an at-home option, allowing anyone the opportunity to participate. If this interests you, head over to compassmining.io.